This was the challenge trial. So the challenge trial has been like tremendously popular. It was the first randomized control trial that looked at the power of exercise really to improve overall survival. So a couple of kind of key things to think about for audience when we think about, you know, research. Randomized control trial is, group A, group B, right? Like it just compared two populations with obviously very different recommendations, although they weren't tremendously different in one capacity, which was the power of empowerment and the power of awareness of exercise, colorectal cancer, specifically this group. So what's cool about this intervention was that it educated everyone of the importance of exercise after they had completed their treatment for colorectal cancer stages 1 through 3, to my knowledge. And that was like the base. And I think that's really great because that's even something that's new. But really where we started to get even more powerful was then the second group was given supervised guidance and recommendations on exercise. And so the structured group had exercise professionals trained in cancer and also had a health coaching kind of mentality. So patients could select the type of exercise that they wanted. They were guided to meet exercise recommendations. And really the biggest piece was that the structured exercise group had a 28% lower risk of cancer recurrence or developing a new primary. The overall survival and disease-free survival was kind of on track close with each other, like the high 70s compared to 80, but like those numbers do matter, right? Like, 5 to 6%, it matters for the 5 to 6%. But what was powerful was that we were really using it in comparisons against, like what is the long-term survival when it comes to traditional treatments? And really exercise kind of surpassed by a nudge. That was pretty cool. So my idea is like, well, and let's just put them together. But I think what's difficult is that challenge was supervised exercise, a certain type of professional, in a group that sometimes is hard for most of our population to access. So now the next lens of this is, all right, how do we take this information and vastly expand it, right, to everybody? But that was the first randomized control trial of its kind and shows us now, okay, we can duplicate this. And I think that's what's key now is how do we move forward?
Sammy, just so that I understand this right, the challenge trial takes colorectal cancer patients across a couple of stages.
Correct.
Your control arm, base arm, is traditional treatment, and put that in quotes, whatever standard of care is. And then the
Mm-hmm.
intervention arm is standard of care plus a specific exercise program under supervision.
So both groups came off treatment, but the group that was in the standard arm just received basic education. I have to look at my notes to make sure that I'm right on that, right? So they just got education of the importance of exercise to improve survival. Group 2 had the health coach that was an exercise professional. So there's the health coaching is quite popular. We have some really good reimbursement for health coaching right now, but the health coach drove that intervention forward. Also, kind of kept people going and excited. Interestingly, and I think this is kind of phenomenal, but also like, how do we duplicate the length of the study was 3 years, right? So the question is, do we need 3 years? The answer is, well, we need people to exercise for 3 years. It doesn't matter how we get them there. But I think that, what we really wanted to show was an extended period of time. A lot of exercise studies are very short. They're 12 weeks, 12 months. That's not really enough data and enough length of time. So that was the key piece. So no treatment. We still do treatment. But what I think people are starting to think about with challenge is it treatment or? And the answer is no, right? Will we get there? I don't know. In prostate cancer, like early stage prostate cancer, we don't do the hormone interventions that the way we do in early stage hormone positive breast cancer. We actually really emphasize lifestyle. So I find that to be quite interesting. But you have been through this experience. If someone gives you A or B, that's a hard choice. I mean, most people are like, I want A and B. Like, give me both. And so how do we study when we're looking at humans and we might be taking away something that we know works when we're trying to figure out what else could work? And I think that's sort of a real challenge of human trials. But I think the lessons are really good. And I think the lessons are like, hey, this really does make a difference. And that was what was powerful.